one of the coolest things that, and just to be professional, because I like to stir the pot, and he is very much so not like this, so I'm going to leave his name out of this. But I had the chance to, basically through friendships, I met a mastering engineer, a very well-established mastering engineer, while at a protest. My then wife knew his wife. She's now my ex-wife. But through the wives' connections, the husbands, so me and him, got connected. And I asked him, I said, hey, you're a mastering engineer. Do you think if I bought you coffee or bought you lunch, I could look over your shoulder at the studio? One thing turned into another, and this turned into like a 2 to 3 day a week thing. It was great. I was in a major mastering house in Seattle, and I was watching records from top Seattle pros to amateurs to mid-tier people get mastered. And the cool thing about that was that leaf was like shaking in such a creepy way. It's like the only leaf shaking around it. That was weird. Anyways, the cool thing about this was I learned something about mastering. It's like so much chatter online is like mastering is a dark art. And I learned a lot of dark art and a lot of very fine, detailed things from this guy. But more importantly, what I learned, he literally said this to me one day, and I love it. He said, I turn knobs until it sounds good. And I thought that was so cool because I was waiting for him and expecting him throughout that roughly about a year to treat me as if I was Brittany Murphy and Ramen Girl. And, you know, smack me back verbally and physically many times to really learn the audio. And it wasn't that. It was, dude, I turn knobs until it sounds good. And I was like, damn, okay. And these are like major records he's working on, and people love his work. And what I had come to realize through that was just that basically people blow a lot of processes of music production and the whole music process way out of proportion. It's not that mastering isn't a respected art and science. It's not that it should just be something that you slap together, but it's also not a newborn baby. And so you need to check yourself and watch that. And he just, you know, he had a lot of experience, and therefore he had confidence and could relax and basically knew the arena that general music fits into. And as I always say, you don't have to hit home plate. If you're on the field, perfect. If you're in the stands, okay. But don't be out of the arena, because then you're not even competing anymore then. So, to me, and I'm speaking for him, this is just my experience, I don't want to speak for him, but that's what I kind of saw him do, you know? He was getting in the arena as close to home plate as he could within a reasonable amount of time without, you know, costing himself money, basically still clearing a profit on a service, which can be tricky, and calling it a done day. And, you know, sometimes the client would send it back with a few notes on a few different things they had a question about or wanted to be corrected. And sometimes those things were valid and they were corrected. And other times they weren't corrected, but it was explained to the client that they're not really going to be corrected because there was a sacrifice that was made there. So the reason why I had to do that, which is cool that you heard that and caught it, but the reason why that happened was because I had to adjust this. And you know, if the client was cool with that, fine. And if the client did not like it and it was absolutely unacceptable, the client takes the hit. And what I mean by that is give it back to the client the way they want it, but caution them that I can do that, but understand you're going to lose about 2 dB of loudness, or it's not going to sound as bright, or it's going to be a little bit sharper in the high end and sound a little bit tougher on the ear than it should. And I just thought that was really cool, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. I was looking over the shoulder in sessions that were a pretty big deal. And, you know, like I said, it's not that the process was disrespected, but we weren't in there with antibacterial soap and gloving up and having our microscopes out. It was just, like I said, he said, I turn knobs until it sounds right. And we didn't over obsess. We kind of just let the production be the production. We let the mix be the mix. We did what we could with the very expensive hardware that we had. And, you know, we're talking your standard good mastering gear, you know, Manley compressors and EQs and a lot of vintage gear, or I shouldn't say necessarily vintage gear, but just hardware that most of us don't have. And I can't remember, I think they were PML or PLM, I can't remember what speakers they were, but there's something like that. I think they were like 5 or 10 grand a piece. So, you know, pretty expensive monitors. And I mean, this guy does this every single day as a living. So it's just something to kind of consider. Take it for what you will. But I thought that was a cool story. And I wanted to share that with you guys. Don't overthink it, guys. Just have some fun. Learn your craft. But don't be afraid of it. It's not a newborn baby. It's not China. Take it for what it is. I'll talk to you guys later.